Good evening, everyone. Good evening, viewers, wherever you are. Um, whether it's good morning, but here in UK, it's good evening or afternoon. Um, so yes, today we're going to be hosting this show, and the title is called "The Impact of COVID-19." So if we won't talk about it, who else will? I mean, we've had, a lot of challenges during this period, and people experience different challenges in one way or another. We lost our loved ones, businesses closed down, the economy was not doing well and stuff. And so today I've got a number of panelists. They're gonna, tell us about their experience regards to this pandemic. And what we've learned, I think, as a people, is that we need one another as a world. Anything that happens in any part of the world, it will affect us in one way or another. And COVID-19 is a big lesson. So we took a lot of lessons from it, and it has taught us that we are, stronger together. We need one another. So that's why, we just want to, share our experiences and thoughts towards, this pandemic. And the message that we want to send out there is, that we are stronger together. Um, Before I dive into what we're going to discuss about today, I would like to just to give a brief introduction about House of Africa, because we decided to come together and put this show together and collaborate with other organizations out there. You will hear about them. So the reason why we formed House of Africa, because we realized that in our communities, especially BAM communities, there are not a lot of leaders in influential positions. But we know that for us to have to make a lot of impact in our communities, we need leaders from these communities, like the Black and Asian communities. But it's not happening a lot. And House of Africa exists to transform these followers into leaders and agents of change. you know we're providing the training platforms to enhance their leadership qualities, because we know that Black people, young and old, they are talented. They have innovative and creative ideas, so we need to give them a platform. That's the reason why we came together as House of Africa to form this group, because we are here to sort of like teach the future leaders to think and build not just for their communities, but also, you know, um, global communities as well. Because, when you look at a country like, America, they've got a lot of young leaders, they are at the forefront. We talk of the Mark Zuckerberg, is influential because they were taught how to be leaders. And also, people in our communities can do the same because they're talented. So the mission of House of Africa is to promote, help advance a free and peaceful and a prosperous world, because we believe that there is no success without a successor. So when you look at developing nations, there are not a lot of leaders that are doing more to secure people, the future of the people in the communities. So we want to change that narrative, want to unfreeze all those old behaviors and challenge that status quo, empower one another, because we strongly believe that like I said, that there's no success without a successor. There's a story that I always tell people. I sound like a broken record when I you know give this example all the time. um, the Jewish community, when they were persecuted, they came together. They built institutions in their communities, like business institutions and schools, and they ensured that their people were looked after. As we speak today, when you look at a country like America, 70% of the economy in America is controlled by the Jewish people one way or another because they came together. And that is the reason why today they managed to, you know, rebuild their country, Israel. Love them or hate them, you know, they've got money. So money talks. And if we as Black people can, replicate the same thing, we're not reinventing any new world, you know, empower one another, make sure that our, wealth is circulating within our communities, and groom leaders that will secure, the future of the people and reduce poverty. So that is, the reason why, ultimate, reason why we formed House of Africa. But because of what hit us as a world, which is COVID-19. So also as people that are aspiring for, for being good leaders in communities, we say, we join hands with organizations that are, helping, communities to cope during this, challenging time. So one of the organizations that we're working with is Awards for All. Um, so we're helping in the communities, and people have lost their loved ones. We speak to them on a regular basis, and that's why today we said, we'll speak about this challenge that we faced as a world, and you will hear from the panelists. They will, as we continue with this program. Um, so yes, we've got a lot of people here from different areas, and we've got a lady called Sandra Adeyeo Bello. She's all the way from Nigeria, and she is into theater, and she's a media practitioner. She's a storyteller. So we'd like you to tell us about what you've experienced in your community when it comes to COVID-19, and also the reason why you decided to become a storyteller.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching across the world. Thank you, Kaiser, for this. Being in an industry largely driven by passion, I can boldly say that the Nigerian creative and entertainment industry is one of, if not the most affected industry through this pandemic across the globe. My reasons are quite simple and a bit cliche, but I'll state them anyway. Um, Structure and funding. Yeah. For
Mm-hmm.
structure, the creative industry is more of a hustle for most practitioners because our struggle is that of survival, not based on qualification in comparison to other professions, though. So before the pandemic, most artists were like call girls, pardon my Spanish, because we
Mm-hmm.
prayed and waited to be called up for jobs. It was tough before the pandemic, but now it is worse because there isn't even hope that a call would come. So it's just like a popular play by Samuel Beckett, Waiting for Godot. The play describes the futility in some waiting periods. Another angle to structure, though, is that there are no laws, or maybe I don't know of any being implemented, that protect the art and the artist. For instance, I remember an interview by Channels TV here in Nigeria on one of Nigeria's finest actresses, Shafi Bello. She
Mm-hmm.
mentioned that while on set one time, a man was contracted to fix the lighting system, and then he fell from the ladder and was rushed to the hospital. But the issue of insurance came up. This is a common occurrence in our industry.
Mm-hmm.
No insurance for the artist or the art. So we have several other issues. And the Nollywood that we all know today was developed based on personal efforts of practitioners with little or no support from the government. Up till this moment, most upcoming artists survive on handouts from senior practitioners, like the popular comedian Ali Baba, who confirmed in one of his speech recently that he is not a government official, but he and some other senior practitioners have been handing out 10,000 naira to younger practitioners as palliatives. his own way of contributing to, the economy during this pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's talk about these senior practitioners. Most of them had to rally around family and friends to get support, and even get loans to fund their movies and productions, because the banks are not willing to lend money to entertainers.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, because they've not seen a prospect or whatever reasons they give. And this pandemic has even made it worse, because some may never recover from the losses incurred by this pandemic, as some people use their houses and some other assets as collateral to fund their productions that right now have been disrupted by the pandemic.
Mm.
You see, everyone is caught in this crossfire. Now, let's talk about funding. At the moment, a lot of productions are running or have run at a loss, because cinema and theater houses, including event centers and hotels, are closed to comply with the COVID-19 safety measures. So currently, little or no production is ongoing. Even productions which were ongoing had to be halted to comply with the social distancing. So funding for productions, which used to be a tedious task for creatives, is now somewhat of an impossible task, because investors are short as well and trying
Mm-hmm.
to conserve the little resources they have at the moment. It is worthy to note, though, that although most artists struggle for survival and have no real source of livelihood at the moment, they are not exempted from the bills they have to pay, such as fuel hike in Nigeria, which has caused the rise in food and transportation and other relevancies. So, as in the arts, we improvise as usual. Many artists, including myself, have now turned to traders and social media entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, when I'm not doing media productions, I write to advocate for women, and I'm presently helping women secure landed properties in Abuja to prepare for post-COVID era. Let me
Mm-hmm.
end by stating that there is still a silver lining, though, to this impact in the end, because a lot of people, including creatives, have found a new way to do business. Talk about the new normal. Artists
Mm-hmm.
now have an opportunity to control their productions and products, as well as interact more personally with their audience via social streaming platforms like Zoom here,
Mm-hmm.
when all of this is over. So, as others around the globe, we hope and pray that a positive outcome will come from fighting this global crisis. I'm
Yes, because
seriously
we
hoping and
are
praying.
stronger
Thank you.
together. Um,
Yes.
yes. In other words, what you're saying, the government is not providing enough, support when it comes to finances and stuff and all that,
At
and
all.
that's something that
At
has to
all.
be looked into. So
Definitely.
before I go to a younger person, she's 10 years old. I want to ask you something. Uh, what was, the reason why exactly you decided to become a storyteller? Because I know
Okay.
one of your organization has got something to do with women. What drove you to because these stories they they give a lot of pictures. They
Mm-hmm.
talk about what happens in our society. Um, so something
True.
must have pushed you, must have driven you to say, what, I'm gonna tell my message, or to people
Yes.
through storytelling.
Yes.
What was the issue? What was you know
Okay.
that
First of all,
thing
let me
that you
just
wanted to
state
turn in,
here.
yeah, into a positive? Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're correct. Let me just first of all state that the African society is built on stories. The African society has been groomed by storytelling over centuries now. We pass down our history via word of mouth, story from one generation to the other, even when it gets filtered out. Personally, the reason for storytelling, I would say storytelling actually found me. That was my own way to express, to channel some emotions and traumas that I survived as a child. It was not an easy upbringing for me. I got to see my
Mm-hmm.
mom um, beaten, battered. She underwent domestic violence for more than 10 years of
Mm-hmm.
my formative years.
Mm.
And growing in that kind of household, it wasn't really an easy expression. I didn't have the opportunity to express myself freely. As you can understand, it was a violent environment. So the only way I could find an effort, or a channel to really speak my mind was through
Mm-hmm.
stories, through
Yeah.
writing. Precisely. I started writing at a very young age. And then when I got to the university, I studied theater and media. And right now, I'm making my own short films to tell the stories of women
Mm-hmm.
who undergo these same challenges, to help more women find an outlet for such crises that they go
Mm-hmm.
through.
Okay. So it was, you know, inequality and stuff in the communities, like women not given a, you know, a
Yes,
chance and stuff and all that,
I,
and
I
that
can
has to
speak
be
for
corrected.
Nigeria.
You
Yes, I
know.
can speak for Nigeria right now that a lot of women are at a disadvantage, and that's why
Mm-hmm.
every single day it's like women have to clamor for things to be done right,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's what's ongoing right now, and through storytelling, I think it's
Yeah.
as theater is a mirror of the society. We try to
Mm-hmm.
mirror the society to ourselves and provide
Yeah.
solutions in our own way to
Yeah.
the issues at
So,
hand.
yeah, that's beautiful. We'll come back to you. We'll come back to you. So Tendai Ndoro, she's one of ours. You know, we like we were saying that, you know, we need to, you know, groom our young ones into leaders and agents of change, and we believe that, you know, she's going to be a future leader and she's going to do more. You know, we know in developing nations they don't normally do such things, but in the Western world, they you know, give their young children a platform. And I think as Black people or Asian people, we need to also do, you know, the same thing, because these young people, they've got innovative and, you know, creative, you know, ideas. So I wanna hear from we want to hear from Tendai. What did you do during this COVID-19 period to get yourself, you know, busy, because everyone was home. You know, you couldn't even speak to your friends at school and stuff and all that. Maybe you were, you know, communicating with them through, you know, the gadgets. But we want to know from you, how did you keep yourself busy?
Well, I kind of got a bit fed up with homeschooling because it was like really hard.
Mm,
Kind of struggling with that. And I did a lot of work on like Google Docs, Google Slides.
mm-hmm,
So I wanted to like write a little story. I just thought, oh, how about write a little story for fun? Because
mm-hmm,
like, I'm gonna pretend I'm an author and write a little story. So then I found myself like Googling true facts to make it flow. And then my
mm-hmm.
mom was like, do you know how good this is? You can publish this. And I was like, really? And then I was just thinking, like, oh my goodness, let's just send it straight to the publisher. But no, we went through all the editing and
Mm-hmm.
it was really stressful, but we got there in the end.
So you managed to write it like a book.
Yeah, we got this
What is it called?
Diaries of a Drama Queen.
Okay, viewers out there, you know, you see what young people can do. So the lesson is, we need to give our young people a platform. It's not about, you know, old people only, but these young people are creative. Like we said earlier on, America is giving their young ones a platform, and they are the leaders of today who are using media platforms and stuff, and all these things. They are, you know, they were, you know, created by Americans. And I believe that even in our communities, we've got, you know, people that are, you know, creative. For example, you know, Tendai, she spent, you know,
Ashira,
um,
Ashira.
Ashirai. Oh, Ashirai. She spent she spent her time, you know, just, you know, writing something that maybe will inspire also the young ones. So, you know, thank you. Thanks a million. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So, yes, we've got Felicia.
Yeah,
Felicia, she's got a master's degree in political, you know, psychology. I think she graduated recently
yeah.
uh, on YouTube because of COVID-19. You know, you are into female, you know, empowerment, and you're a life coach, and you formed this organization called Beta to Alpha Ladies. So yeah. we want to know, how you guys, coped, because in, when it comes to COVID-19, we were all affected in one way or another. We want to know how, you managed to, you know, um, do all your, services, the things that you do in the community out there, reaching out to, you know, um, um, the young ladies and stuff. And what were the, those positive and negative things that you guys experienced? So, yeah.
Thank you for having us on. So as you said, I started this group, Better to Alpha Ladies, also known as B2A Ladies, last year in 2019, and we're coming up to our 2-year anniversary. We were quite lucky because my organization is global. So with over 40 ladies all over the world, I originally started it online. So when COVID hit, it didn't hit us as much as other businesses because we were already online. We were already doing these Skype meetings. We were already doing WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, all the social medias were on it. We were already on it. One of the things that COVID stopped us from doing is the physical get-togethers in the different countries, connecting women together in the countries that they live in. That's been one of the things that has stopped us during COVID. But in terms of physically actually doing our activities and connecting with each other, it hasn't impacted us greatly because we were already on the forefront of it. Because we realized that a lot of young girls and young people between the ages of 18 to 35 were already using social media. So we wanted to capitalize on that from the get-go and reach a new target audience who maybe they don't feel comfortable meeting face to face, but they still wanted to connect with us. So we just jumped on the social media train from the get-go, and COVID luckily hasn't impacted us that greatly just on the face-to-face activities.
So other people out there, they can, tread, using, online, platforms and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's what, Felicia and your group did. So, people can, we need to be flexible, readjust, and, there's no lost hope. So we have to try something else in order to beat this thing. And I believe that we're stronger together as we're sharing today ideas. We're learning, from these ladies, and their group. They were successful because they were already, using online platforms and stuff. Um, so which is a beautiful thing. The only negative thing is they couldn't meet physically. And also, I don't know about, when did you start the group? And when it comes to, because I mean, you are growing, and how do you, source things like, capital and stuff? And
So we're a
yeah.
community group. So our membership is £19.99 a month, or you can pay a year's membership of £200 for the entire year. And one of the things is that the benefits is that you actually get a 24-hour community service within our membership group. So you have an access to a counselor, you've got access to people all over the world. We've got girls in Russia, in South Africa, in America, in China. So because of time differences, there's always someone who's up. So it gives you the opportunity to connect with people at any time of the day. It allows you to connect with counselors and therapy sessions for whatever you're going through, and to talk to the women. So that's one of the things that we do offer with our membership. And we also have business development, personal development as part of it, that you can purchase at discounted prices as part of the members.
So you've already got a bank account?
Unfortunately, because of COVID, we haven't been able to open one. But one of the things that our banks were saying to us is that we've done it through PayPal. So that was a way for us to go around that. But because of COVID, unfortunately, we weren't able to open a business account because they weren't taking on new businesses.
Okay, so that's another challenge that you guys
Yeah.
first, and when things get better, you'll be able to open that account and do
Yeah.
whatever you love doing.
Yeah.
We'll come back to you. So yes, we've got Emily Due. She's a a lawyer. She's into employment law, and she's an occupational health specialist. And also she's a founder president of a nonprofit organization called Voice of the African Child, and also a director of Arise Africa Group. So she's a person, she's a people person. That's the nature of a job, looking after people, the welfare of people, and also doing charitable work in across the world in native countries, Zimbabwe and all these other African countries. So we want to hear from you, your experience with regards to this pandemic, the challenges that you faced, and the people that representing, and also the positives as well.
So basically, thank you so much, Kaiser Kunzanani, for having me. Thank you to House of Africa. So like you said, thank you for that whole accolade. My background is mainly occupational health medicine and marrying that with occupational health. So I've worked in both the public sector and the private sector. So areas like Shell Oil, Sky News, Welcome of GlaxoSmithKline. There's companies that have also been with the council and the NHS. So I've got a broad experience in the public and private sector. And the main goal of occupational health is, most people, when you think about medicine, you think of acute medicine, for example, in accident and emergency or in the wards. People don't generally think about health issues in the workplace. So people are exposed to factors that can cause ill health in the workplace. It could be, say you work in the car industry and you spend the whole day spraying or painting cars and you are inhaling paint, and that could cause lung cancer. You could be working in the flower industry, you're making flour, or baking industry and you're inhaling flour, that could cause lung cancer. Asbestosis, there are various exposures, lifting and handling poorly, bad posture, things that are exposed people to carcinogens, oils in the car industry, mental health issues, violence, people are exposed. So there's a whole plethora of incidences that can affect the health of an employee in the workplace, and that area is actually called occupational health. And apart from identifying what can cause ill health and protecting people and advocating for staff in the workplace, our role is also to support staff members who are probably disabled, or almost like industrial relations, people that are disabled or who are not fit to work in the full capacity, but can work in some capacity. So enabling them to be in the workplace, even though they are ill, but in some capacity where they're getting support from the workplace as well, so that they don't continue to just be ill. So it's a whole range of matters in occupational health. In terms of COVID-19, which we're talking about today in the BME industry, what we've come across is that occupational health has really pulled forward as a platform for supporting people in the BME group.
Yes,
And the
communities.
reason being is because most of these people would have underlying sort of comorbidities and high blood pressure, diabetes, other mental health issues due to other problems that they're experiencing in their own lives. And as a result of that, they need protection in the workplace. So they sometimes will be put in an area where they're exposed to clients or patients that have got COVID-19. And that puts someone with comorbidities at a higher risk, because if they catch the infection, they'll potentially die. And we've had a lot of people that are of the BA group dying because they've got many underlying health conditions. And so on exposure, they catch the disease and they struggle to recover, and then we end up dying. And our role in occupational health has been to push for policies that not only raise awareness for Black people, but raise awareness for non-Black people to recognize that this is an at-risk group. And out of that pressure, we've brought about what's called a COVID risk assessment specifically for BAME group. There is an existing COVID risk assessment for anybody and everybody, but we had to put pressure to bring about one that is specific for the BME group. And thankfully, the Department of Health and all the health factors accepted and listened and we're able to implement that. So having put in a policy that protects a group of people in the workplace, it's not enough to just have a policy. The next role for occupational health is now to ensure that that policy is not just window dressing. You know, but anybody, any company, any sector can tick a box and say, hey, we've got that policy, but our role is now to police and ensure that that policy is being followed. And our role is to raise awareness amongst the BME group to say, look, wherever you're working, there ought to be a policy to protect you, and this is how you go about. So we're raising awareness amongst them, not so much in the you're a victim attitude, but you have a right to safe employment, and there is a policy to protect you, and there ought to be a policy to protect you as an individual in the workplace. So broadly, that's what we've been doing.
I mean, we have, I mean, during this challenging time, we've heard, you know, that you know, Black people have always been put in hotspots and stuff and all that, and we lost a lot of lives in the Asian and you know, Black community during this you know, period and stuff. So, and some of them have no choice. These people are breadwinners and they just got to work and working under those conditions, and it's been difficult for people. We've been hearing stories, and so when you are coming across such cases, how have you been, you know,
so
dealing with, you know, such people, and you know?
Yeah, so what we've been doing with them is really to raise awareness again about a facility called occupational health, to raise awareness about this risk assessment that is in the workplace, and then signpost them. And then also educating human resources, so we work quite closely with human resources, educating human resources on the policy and how to implement it in the workplace. But so much so we've been more like a signposting facility for the staff members and the BMA group to recognize that there is provision for them as a people. So
people need to know that, because they're you know, somebody has to be speaking for them.
They need to know that
you know,
every workplace,
support is available.
The government has put up policies specifically to support the BMA group in the workplace so that they are not exposed enough to lead them to losing their lives. And if people don't know that, they will just be put in hotspots or do that job, look after the patient, even though you are diabetic and that could put you at risk. They need money to support their families. Quite a number, some of the groups send money back home to look after their families. So to them, it's like, I need a job. And COVID-19 is such an insidious disease. You don't see it coming on you. It's think I'm breathing normal. The next thing you deteriorate quite quickly. So they'll just think, oh, well, I'll just look after this patient. I'll just do this because I need the money. I need money. But also our group of people, they do so many jobs. So they'll be covering long days on weekends and not having rest, not looking after their bodies because of the financial pressure that is on them, because of the we are a group of people that are not only hospitable, but we take responsibility for families, extended family. So pressure is on individuals so we educate them, look after your health, and there's such a shout out now for individuals to look after their health and put themselves first, you know, because it's no use if you depart, who's going to look after your family and all your loved ones, right? So not only identifying the health needs assessment amongst the BME group that are mental health, emotional health, physical health, but also signposting them to demonstrate that, look, there is help
out there
as an individual. So
so we'll come back to you. We've got Chido Z Zobo. So you are qualified, you know, you've got masters in public health, and you are a social worker, and also you've got a passion for, you know, to research into, you know, BAM, you know, empowerment initiatives, and also you've also done well with you know, this organization, non-profit making organization called PAC. You've made a lot of, you know, impact in Zimbabwe. You know, we had, you know, challenging issues. I think it was, you know, the floods that happened in Zimbabwe. You guys were there, you were helpful and stuff. So we just want to, you know, also hear from you what has been your experience, because you are sort of like in the same thread as Emily, is communicating with people in the communities and stuff, and you guys had to readjust because of COVID-19. So what has been your experience, the positives and the negatives?
Thank you very much, Nani, for inviting me to this prestigious platform. And I hope that we're going to have more of these conversations, because not only are we giving information out there, but people would learn one or two things from this kind of platform. Right? Like you say, you've actually summed up what I do. I'm a qualified social worker with close to 10 years experience. So I've worked, also I'm a best interest assessor. I think you missed that part. The reason why I wanted you to emphasize on the best interest assessor is pre-COVID, before COVID happened, as a best interest assessor, as a social worker, my role will involve me going out and seeing people face to face, doing assessments and looking at whether, dealing with vulnerable adults, looking at care planning, all sorts of things. But our role mainly focuses on face-to-face contact. Because when you do face-to-face, you'll be able to visualize, to see the home environment, you'll be able to assess all the issues or the risks rather than on the phone. So that was pre-COVID. Best interest assessor, the same thing. You would go in hospitals or in care homes where you would do the sort of same thing, but you'll be doing what's called, I don't want to bore you with that, it's quite a complicated one, but you'll be doing best interest assessments called deprivation of liberty safeguards. But I made a choice, a personal choice, that because of the risks that were happening, I'm not going to do that, because I was doing that over the weekends. So that's another role. So that's an impact on its own on my personal life. So I stopped doing best interest assessment and I focused on social work. So the team that I'm currently working in, it's a duty team. So I call it the front door. You see, you have cases from all over. You get cases from the GPs, cases from charities. You get cases all around, really. So you kind of see the whole large spectrum: learning disability, mental health, you name it. So we see from the front door. I quite like that team because during COVID, you learn some skills that you never thought you had. Because before COVID, you just do, okay, you've got your form, you do an assessment, you go to the forum to get funding approved. But now you have to wear certain hats that nobody, as a social worker, you would normally before COVID. So I've seen a rise in a number of cases during COVID, especially domestic violence cases. And shockingly enough, there's mostly BAME in the area that I work in. So that's why the passion around BAME initiatives came from, because I'm seeing a lot of safeguarding issues, mental health issues within our BAME. I'm seeing a lot of cases around people with no recourse to public funds, who have no accommodation. Yes. So there's quite a lot. And why I'm highlighting these issues is because there's no funding or services to cater for such individuals. And we as social workers, we have to actually play a role of an advocate. I remember, I was telling you the other day.
Represent your people.
Yeah, representing people. I remember telling you the other day, a gentleman from Nigeria who, the way he speaks, he's got depression. He doesn't have schizophrenia. He doesn't have any other conditions. The way he was speaking in hospital, he looked like he was violent. And then I remember him being sectioned because people didn't understand his demeanor or the way he spoke. So I got passionate. These are the things that actually get me passionate about thinking of doing a research, because I feel after COVID, we need to be focusing more now on the aftermath. How are we going to support BAME after COVID period? So I'm looking into studying my PhD around BAME initiatives, and within mainly focusing on BAME. And I know it sounds selfish to talk about BAME, but I know most of the services are tailored around, the British, but not BAME. I could be here telling you most of the cases that I'm sure Caroline will highlight some of the hospital ones that she faces. People like, for instance, people who are Muslim wanting a male carer. During this time, you don't have a choice. You just have to get out from hospital and get whatever that's available. So you see where I'm coming from in terms of there's no focus in encouraging that culture sensitive services, and then that person may be wrongly sectioned because maybe they are not agreeing to the support because it's going against their religion, it's going against the culture. So there's a whole lot of issues. I could talk all night because I'm very passionate about that, and I feel there's much that needs to be done because policies and research needs to be done. BAME people who are like you, like these people who are on this platform, I'm really privileged to be sharing with people like Sandra in Nigeria. Thank you, Sandra, for sharing that story about your mother, domestic violence. Those are some of the things that we need to be looking at. How can we, we are stronger together, like this t-shirt says. How can we come together to sort of tackle these issues? These are real issues. Domestic violence before COVID is not something that I was really, dealing with, but now it's an everyday thing. How do we tackle mental health issues? How do we do that? That's why I feel this platform will bring probably viewers who come and say, well, I know this organization. I know, and you have to know that we work in different areas.
And the idea is to learn from one another. Like as they say, iron sharpens iron, and by doing that, we'll achieve more, especially our people, like as Black people. We haven't, found the right formula to support one another. So you also mentioned that some of these people, didn't have things like accommodation. So I wonder where they were sleeping and stuff. But you were also, dealing with, Black, Asians, and also, white people. So what has been your experience when it came to, all these groups of people and stuff who has been struggling to get accommodation or assisted, and, what has been your experience?
I think you know the answer to that, my brother.
Yes, we wanna hear, because you guys are the ones that are dealing with the these people.
I
So
didn't mention where I work. I don't want to lose my job after this.
Okay.
But as obvious as that question sounds, it's, what can I say? I have to be very diplomatic. Services are there.
Sorry for putting you on the spot.
Services are there, but they are limited. So such that things like culture or BAME is not the focus on assessment. I wouldn't put in looking for funding for an assessment and say, oh, I've got a Black African who wants accommodation where they cook jollof because he's Nigerian, or they cook sada because they're Zimbabwean, and then expect to get that because there's no culture sensitive services. That's the list of their worry during this time. So to answer your question, I would say there is limited services for all, but BAM will probably suffer more.
So that more needs to be done. More needs to be done. That's why we need leaders in our communities. As you were saying, we are stronger together. We have to speak about these things, and where there's a problem, there's always a solution. So we have to find, even those that believe in the Bible, there was darkness, and then there was light. So light was the solution. So there is always a solution. And if we continue to speak about these things and also be practical, who realize some good results. So yes, we've got Caroline Vunja Stackhouse. She's a social worker as well, and then a member of House of Africa, Chief Executive Officer of a nonprofit organization called SPA Community Trust. They do a lot, in our native country, Zimbabwe. I'm sure they've had challenges because of COVID-19, but we also want to hear from you. The challenges that you've experienced, and also, you are one of the people that suffered from this, pandemic. It was challenging. You were in isolation, and also you lost, your loved ones here in UK and also abroad in Zimbabwe and all these other countries, and you couldn't even, go to, or attend, the burials and stuff. And so, that has been challenging, to a lot of people. Um, it's not a nice thing, but we want to hear from you, how you pulled it together, you pulled yourself together with the family and stuff. So, uh, can you tell us, your experience?
Okay. Good evening, everybody across the globe. It's morning, it's afternoon, it's daytime, anyway, across the globe. As Kaiser said, my name is Caroline Vundla Stackhouse. I'm a social worker by profession, and I'm a member of House of Africa. I'm a founder, CEO of Spark Community Trust in Zimbabwe. We do a lot of charitable things back home. When the COVID started sometime in May, we've been doing COVID awareness. As you all be probably aware that back home in Africa, people, they were not taking COVID as serious, not really serious. They were not aware that what sort of guidance can they follow to prevent the COVID, even though they could have guidance to follow, but there's no prevention. There was no PPE, there was nothing. People, they were getting COVID, and some of them, they were not aware that they've got COVID because there was less stations where people, they can go and test for COVID. So they didn't take COVID serious. I've got my members of family, yes, who passed away COVID here in UK. The only thing we could come across was the media platforms, like we could do Zooms and have prayer meetings and talk about arrangements and all that. We failed to go and attend any funerals here in the UK. Moreover, back home, I lost my own sister in August during this pandemic. Couldn't even fly home to bury my sister. And then on top of that, with the first phase of COVID in June, I contracted COVID-19. It was a massive, massive challenge to me with my family. You'll be serious. I didn't want to watch telly at the time because the only thing I could see some of my members of the family on television who have passed away. And in psychologically, when I had this COVID, I thought probably I would be going. And I had prepared myself and prepared my family as well at the same time. It was a challenge to be on isolation in your own room. You are living with people, but you are not living in the same house. You have got your own room. They're cooking downstairs. They're bringing food to you to eat. It was a struggle on me. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't walk from my bedroom to the toilet. I was really struggling. I could crawl going to the bathroom because I was struggling with my breathness. So it was a massive challenge, especially with people of color like us, PMA people. There are no resources or any signposting. I didn't see any. In mind, where I live is a small village with no BMA people. So it was a massive challenge. Who can do the shopping for us? Because everybody's on isolation because of me. We had COVID. They couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't go anywhere. It was a challenge for people to bring shopping. We had to phone my stepson who lived miles away from us to come and do shopping for us.
And you leave the parcels on the door.
They
You
leave the
wouldn't even
parcels
go in.
on the door, and they couldn't even see me because I was constantly confined in one room for 14 days. Moreover, my sisters, I couldn't speak with them even on the phone. I was texting, just do the video call for them to see my face, that I was still alive, because I was becoming shortness of breath. For them to reassure my mother, who was in Africa, to say, well, I'm not going to see the body of my daughter if she passes away, because I was going to be buried here. Nobody would have seen me besides the people I lived with in the house. My mother couldn't have even had her goodbyes to me, besides a video call, which I used to put it on for my mom to see a call, and I'll just wave to see that I'm still breathing, I'm still alive. It was a really massive challenge. And I'm glad that we're in this today to make an awareness how it affects us as Black community.
Yes.
As Chito said, I didn't want to repeat exactly what Chito said as our profession, how we look after our people, and we contract COVID-19 during our work environment. And we've got people we support from BMAE, and the resources, they're really scarce.
Yes, yes,
there
yes.
are no resources. I think even now, we are the most vulnerable people, as the statistics says, but what's there in place to prevent us to contracting more? Yes, I heard Emily talking about all these risk assessments to be put in place. Are they good enough? Are they being followed by our employees to prevent us to recontract COVID-19? I've got a personal friend of mine. She had COVID-19 during my time. She went on a ventilator. She passed through. She come out from COVID-19. On the second wave now, she had COVID-19 and she passed away. So there were these statistics saying once you had COVID, you might not get it again. To me, you will get it again if things are not put in place. You can have PPEs, you can have everything, because we are fighting with something which we don't see. We can contract it in a shop, we can contract it anywhere, but we need always to make sure that we are full PPE. Up to now, I'll never be the same. My health has deteriorated. My anxiety, when I talk about COVID-19, I feel so anxious that I might get it. I don't want somebody sneezing next to me. I don't want to feel not unwell. Like before, we could have flu. This time of the year, there's flu. But I'm so scared that is it flu? Is it COVID? I'm constantly testing myself because of the anxiety.
Yeah. I think as a people, our hope is that you're going to be, fully fit in the end and try, to find ways of making sure that you be, better, get back to where you were before and stuff. And what I picked up, from you as well is that we don't have enough support as a Black people. And the other thing as well that I picked up as well is like we don't have information or where to find that help, and that's another effect as well. So I hear educating one another that yes there's not enough support, but there is also help, and we need to know about those places, because you mentioned that you guys couldn't even travel to go and bury your loved ones and stuff because of COVID-19. And I also engaged with this community, Filipino community. They've got their own organizations. They've had their own struggles, their loved ones passing away and stuff. But they also, pushed hard, to connect with all these organizations and the government to seek for help. And in the end, they made a breakthrough, and they could even, take their loved ones who passed away and give them a decent burial in their native country, in the Filipinos and stuff, just because they were knocking on the doors. And I think that's something that we need to also look into, keep knocking on these doors and stuff, and we'll be able somehow to find this help, and just learning from other communities, but also being aware that yes, the help is not enough. Continue to talk about it. So yes, we've got Tendai, Ndoro, Tendai Ndoro. She's a qualified, financial life coach, independent mortgage and income protection advisor, author, and an international speaker. You've written a lot of books, and in your community, the church, and you've been coaching people. Because one thing that we've learned, because of this challenge that we faced, is that a lot of people were dying in our communities, the young and the old. But another thing that we learned is that some of them didn't have things like life insurance, and they could not get any decent burial because of that. Families are struggling financially. So I told myself, we need to educate ourselves about these things. We're not saying young people are going to die, but we just have to learn about these things, how we can protect ourselves when it comes to life insurance, how we can come, like what we're saying now, we are stronger together. We are going to be learning from one another. We need each other. I don't know everything, but if I can go to Emily, I can go to Chiro, Caroline, and Sandra, and everybody, I will learn something new, something that I need. And we need to promote this sort of mentality in our community, so we can just learn from one another, uh, because for me, like during this period, I was receiving some phone calls. They were asking me, are you okay, and things like that, my life insurance company. And I was telling them, yes, I'm fine, and all that. Oh, we just wanted to check. But I didn't know that those people can also help you in one or another during this time. So we want to just hear from you, the things that you've been doing in the communities, and also that information that you have that is needed by people out there, with regards to
Oh, thank you so much, Kaiser. Thank you, everyone else who's been speaking. This is so awesome to be part of this platform tonight. Surely if we don't talk about it, who else will? That is the truth. One of the things I'm very passionate about, and I've been doing for about 7 years now, is teaching about financial literacy. I have a teaching brand called Understanding Money, which is aimed at building generational wealth through financial literacy. And that came about after working in banking for years, for over a decade, and getting very frustrated because I would find that, when maybe someone who's Caucasian has a baby, for instance, they just walk into the bank and they say, I need some life insurance. And I'm thinking, wow, this is someone who's organized. And in our community, you mentioned that, or you speak to a lady and she goes and speaks to her husband, then the husband says, do you want to kill me? My husband says, I don't need that. And I'm thinking, is he not going to die at some point? Does he know when his last day is going to be? So it's almost like, oh, we don't need that. That's a waste of money. And this woman with 4 kids, this man's giving you 4 children, 5 children, and you're saying you don't need it? What would happen financially if you was not to make it till, old age, which is obviously the hope. That's what we all want to get to. But yeah, so that really stirred a passion in me for my people. And when I came out, I just started teaching, I go to churches, I go wherever I can, because sometimes as well, our faith and our belief system stops us from being practical,
Yes.
I will live, I will not die, I'll declare the
not...
works of the Lord. Hallelujah. And if I come to speak about life insurance, it's almost like you're trying to get behind me, devil. And it's like, no. On this earth, we're here for a certain time.
Yes.
Some will live to
you
a
can
nice
say that again.
Some will go younger. This has always been happening. That's the way we exit the earth. And while we are here, we must put things in place so that all the work that we've done doesn't go down the drain. One of the things that I see, you were talking about the Jews, they pass on generational wealth. I mean, even if you look at this country, historically, and it was the same, I think, in Africa as well, where people who are called the hunters, they were hunters in their family and they would pass it on. The butchers would have butcheries and they would pass it on and pass it on, things like that. So for me, I get very frustrated when I see us not doing wills, because we're not clear about who is supposed to get anything if if we died. We've crossed the borders. We've jumped the crocodiles of Limpopo, gone to South Africa, gone to Canada. We've left loved ones. We've worked hard. We work hard. We're a hardworking people. You know, we've done 24-hour shifts. We've done all sorts, you know, to carry our families on our backs and cross over, you know, to promised land or better prospects. And, you know, all that hard work can actually go down with us if we don't put things in place.
Yes.
And these things are available. There's simple tools. Like I said, life insurance. Most life insurance comes with something called waiver of premium. If you opt for it, it's an option. And that means if you're off work sick for more than 3 months, usually at least, then it would start to pay your premium, so that if you are off sick, you know, you don't end up losing your policy because you weren't able to pay the premium, you know. A lot of people go self-employed. Yes, I'm earning more money. Yeah, that's great. But do you know what that means? That means now your boss doesn't have to take care of your pension. Your boss doesn't have to take care of your sick pay benefits. You have to be responsible and look after it yourself. You know, there's income protection in place. And I love it when, you know, when I speak to a lot of my clients, they say, oh my gosh, Tendai, it's a whole world. And I said, yes, this is why it's important even to speak to an advisor, because they can look at things holistically for you, and say, you know what, based on your situation, you have 2 kids. That one is better for you, and this one is better for you because of that. But we are still a community who don't like to come and get advice. We don't want to go to the experts. Even now, how many, you know, we've got experts here who are telling us about different sections, and it's like, wow. But we would rather want the Chinese whispers. If I'm HIV positive, I can't get cover. Just because that person who tried to get the cover, they had cancer before, they maybe got high blood pressure as well, and HIV positive. So the combination plus high body mass index, the combination of their specific situation means they can't get cover, but that doesn't mean that you can't get cover, you know? So if you go and you find out for yourself and say, you know what, this is my situation, can someone cover me? I work for myself. If I'm not working, you know, this is one of the times that I've really, it's been a hard time, but I've really felt so fulfilled during this period. When I've seen some of my clients, you know, it's sad that some of them have passed away, but to be able to say to the wife, to be able to say to the husband, okay, let's put a claim in. Don't worry about, you know, the mortgage. There's this, remember we set this up for the children. There's some money that can come in every month. That £1,000 a month will take care of this. And it takes the edge off. You know, we're talking about people being forced to go to work. It's because the financials are not okay. You know, if I don't go to work, what happens? Who's going to look after me? And if we don't, you know, put certain things in place. I always look at things like insurances or protection and wills. I look at it as your foundation. If you're building a house, remember that storms are going to come. Remember the wind is going to blow. Sometimes it's going to rain. Have you got an umbrella that can shelter you from that?
That can show you,
You know? Savings are wonderful if you can build them up. But to be honest with you, savings can go in a flash.
Just like that.
For 3 months, savings that have caused you to be building up for 2 years can deplete. And yet maybe a policy that you would have paid maybe 30 quid a month for, you know, would step in and pay you your whole month's salary, you know, for until you're fine, until you're financially healthy enough to get back up there. So yeah, you triggered me, because this is an area I'm so passionate about, and I'm happy to be an evangelist in this zone, because
and let people know out there, like what we're saying, we don't know everything, but if we connect, you know, with one another, you know, whatever you have, you know, just share it and let people know out there. And this is, you know, something that we're trying to also, you know, build in our communities and stuff, and so we can empower one another like any other community. We're not reinventing any new world here, because we've got so much potential. Even like back home, you know, our continent, Africa. That's why we want to connect with everyone. We want to be international champions. That's why even Sandra, she's joined us here today, tonight, because, you know, we are a family. We are a global family. We know, you know, from this lesson, COVID-19 has taught us, you know, a lot of things, that we need one another, and we are the future, and stuff. So we can only, you know, go forward by collaborating and stuff. And there's a, you know, glimpses of hope. I mean, looking at a country like Nigeria, I was following people like, you know, Aliko Dangote. I don't know if people know the guy, but I believe he's doing well. Right now he's, you know, pushing this, you know, projects that, you know, the world thought Africa will never, you know, you know, pull such a project. Um, you know, is they're going to be producing something like, refining 650,000 barrels of crude oil, and that's going to create a lot of employment over there in Nigeria. And we know they've got a lot of resources and stuff. And then you look at a country like Ghana. Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, they've been producing 70% of cocoa butter, or cocoa beans, I mean to say, like in the world. And that's $100 billion industry. But they've been selling raw materials to, you know, the Western world and stuff. And the only profit that they could get from that $100 billion turnover is just only 2 million. Why? It's because we don't have manufacturing industries. So I believe that if we, you know, continue to talk, you know, about these things and come together, we will, you know, build our communities. We will be the leaders and agents of change. And, you know, if we don't talk about these things, who will? You know, that was our topic today, COVID-19, and we've learned, you know, from one another, and it's been a beautiful thing, you know. So yeah, so I mean, so going forward, because, you know, we learned a lot about these things. There've been spikes, you know, you know, telling us, okay, you know, now it's fine, you can go and do your own thing, and then the next thing, go back, lockdown and stuff. So going forward, what, you know, can we say, and because we want to be free, and like 2021 we want to do all sorts and stuff, and, you know, there's been a talk about, you know, things like vaccine and stuff, but as a people, you know, we are responsible because of what we've learned. What can we, you know, do going forward? You know, that's an open question to everyone.
So I would say, I think in summarizing everything and responding to your question going forward, I think number one, be aware of your own health, right?
Mm-hmm.
Be aware of your own physical health, your own mental health, and be aware of your what was it, and I call it, put your house in order financially, because it's a huge stress when you're unwell and you can feel symptoms of ill health, but you push yourself to go to work because you need the money. I think it's important to connect with Tendai separately and just ask how, because sometimes you think, oh, that 30 pounds, oh, it's too much money, I need it. But you might put away 10 pounds a month maybe, and that would be a huge cover. I mean, Tendai will explain.
Yeah. Yes.
But I'm just saying, let's take that seriously. And then also just take on board what every panelist has said. Caroline, the experience that she's been, be aware of yourself, be aware of your relationships. We need each other. Caroline said she couldn't even get her sisters to come and see her. She had to wave on video. Check on each other. How are you? What are you doing today? And if you can't see each other, be conscious of relationships and things what Chido was talking about. You know, catch up with Chido and what she's talking about. Sandra, I think let us be stronger together for real going forward. But you can't be if you're not aware of yourself, you're not self-aware of your own health, your own mental well-being, and where to get help from. It's just one thing to add on. I know Caroline mentioned about the policies and all that. Yes, those are there, but they're ineffective if we don't enforce them.
Enforce them, yeah.
Uh-huh.
We have to
Now,
make things happen.
Yes, and
knock on the doors.
there are tools for us to use. Yeah, and most people think, oh, I'll just go and do a grievance. A grievance is a complicated way to solve a problem. The way I would advise anyone in the first place is just write what's called a without prejudice letter. A without prejudice letter is a legal tool that you use to demonstrate to the company that these are your policies, but your policies are not fitting my situation. Can you look without going in? A grievance can be yes, grievance is the next stage before tribunal, but start with a without prejudice letter where you take the policies of the company, and in your situation, these policies are not matching up with my situation, and here's the letter. Polite, the company forces the bosses at the top to look at it, and then you can resolve it quietly, do the settlement without going into grievances and acrimony and then going into courts. So people just need to be aware of those things going forward. That's my input anyway.
Felicia, what's your input? Yes, Sandra.
Okay. In addition to what Tendai, right? In addition to what Tendai said, we are stronger together truly. And I think we should, like we are doing this right now. I'm so happy we're doing this because we should not completely rely on the government. For instance, I'm speaking as a Nigerian, I'm speaking from a Nigerian's point of view right now, that we cannot completely rely on the government to do everything for us. We know we have failed leadership at the moment. And one of the things I would advocate for through true,
everyone is a leader.
Political leadership. I'll have to put it like that, because most times everyone seems to be waiting for someone else to do what they can do in their own little corner. So I would say, in addition to what Tendai said, we should collaborate. I think from my own point of view, from my own stance as a storyteller, like I said earlier, stories have been a way to pass on information in the African society. If we can tell stories, like Caroline just shared an experience that I personally have not. I can now say that I have met someone who has gone through the COVID-19 and survived, right? These stories would have been hidden if I did not get connected to this platform. Because over here in Nigeria, all I hear from my own corner are numbers. The numbers of cases, the numbers of this. I haven't really met someone as intimately as I have right now with Caroline telling her story. And I think we can collaborate and share stories, documentaries, short films about these experiences, everything that we've shared. Chido talked about mental health. I think the same thing with Felicia as well. Emily, sorry. She also talked about that. So I think we can, be stronger together and share these stories to educate, to inform, and a bit of entertainment in there, because of course the society is already full of a lot of depressed help seekers right now. So a little fun out there would
business empires
and make it, of course. So that's my own
for
contribution
generational
to
wealth,
this.
as Tendai said it.
Yes, exactly, just as she said. All I'm pushing for is empowerment. True,
yes,
you're right.
That's beautiful. So yes, Chido.
Yeah, I won't repeat what everybody has said. I agree totally, but I'll just add these simple ones, which is eat healthy, exercise. I'm talking about what I'm trying to do, because you can easily put on weight. You can easily, because exercises are attached to there's a lot of research around exercise and mental health. And also, a lot of people like anxiety problems, join support groups. If you're a Christian, there's a lot of church online Zooms. These are simple things that we can do for now, while you don't want to suffer on your own, in your own room, in your own, without talking to your friends, or you check up on each other as well. Call your friends, call your family, I was saying to my other colleagues, we were prepared for this because our families are back home in Zimbabwe, and we were doing Skypes, we were doing WhatsApps. So we kind of have that coping mechanism in a way. It's like an advantage because we were doing it before. So it's like we are teaching our colleagues that don't worry, that Skype is enough. It will, you know, you can sleep knowing that your family is okay. So that's all I would have to say for now.
Okay. We've got 10 minutes left. Tendai, what do you, yeah? What?
I just, thank you so much to everybody. I can't repeat what they've said, but I'll just leave you with two things that I think are important. Connect and collaborate, you know.
Yes.
Plug in, you know, there's all these resources. As we can see, now I know Sandra there in Nigeria, and I'm like, okay, you know, Sandra, how can we get this message across for young people? Can we get some ideas? You're already in that industry. So that is also another way of making sure that whatever little skits or whatever messages, I'm giving her work, you know, and collaborate, working together. You know, one, there's a scripture that says one can beat 1,000, two will chase 10,000, you know? So when we're synergized together, we're more together. So let's keep speaking about
all these issues.
Actually ill yourself, you know, have somebody that you connect with and say, you know what, I'm not well, so that they know and can sound the alarm. To just hear of people who, I think just before COVID, we had a lot of people in the community just dying on their own in their home after shifts and shifts and just dying in the house with no one knowing, being found after days. So, you know, woken us up to say, hey, let's check up on each other, let's find out how we're doing, but collaborate.
Like, well, I'm saying that we are the future leaders of tomorrow, and politicians can't change our communities on their own. So we have to, you know, be involved, not be on the terraces when we see that things are going wrong and stuff. We can come up with ideas that it can, you know, can help us to empower one another business-wise, you know, economically or socially and stuff. And like we were saying that the Jews did it, why not us? You know, we've got so much potential, especially, you know, Africans. We are in every industry that we can think of, we're there. So that means when we come together, we'll be able to do more, and we'll do more in Africa. And also unfreeze those old behaviors, you know, that have been hindering progress in our communities. So yes, we are stronger together. What have we got for us, Caroline? We've got maybe 5 minutes. 6 minutes before we can close.
I just want to add to everybody's input that it was an eye-opener to me to meet up with everybody with different professions. What I can say, yes, we are stronger together, but as Africans, let's unite. It doesn't matter which kind, whether we are SADC or East or West, let's just unite and help each other. All of us here, we have got different businesses, charities, and all that. Let's unite and talk about our charities and how we can support people back home. Like as I said in the beginning, that with our charity Spark Community Center, we've been doing COVID awareness back home, sending PPEs, how people they can behave themselves, and we continue doing that. Now I know Emily's got a different charity. How can I pitch in and help that charity? I got to Tito as well. Tito, what sort of things are you doing? Let's unite and support our people back home and work together as a team. Where I'm struggling, somebody can support. So as Africans, it's a good thing that we'll be under the House of Africa umbrella and we can support each other.
Fantastic.
And then we can beat this COVID.
Absolutely.
And we need, COVID has taught us as Africans, let's unite.
Yeah.
Yes.
What I can leave with people is Daniel 4 verse 21. We are ready for 21st.
Yes. Amen. And what have we got for us, Felicia, the last person, before we, you know, round it up?
To be fair, I think everyone has pretty much said it all. I feel like I want to encourage people to continue using social media, because I know people sometimes don't want to use social media because they think they're online too much, but social media has managed to connect all of us during 2020. And especially if you've got a business, this is one way for other people to connect with your business, to share it with other people. It means that you no longer have to be in the same place to get access to that business, to that community. You can be all the way across the ocean and still have the access and meet new people and connect with new people. Technology is not something to be feared, it's something to be embraced. And I think with our company, we've been able to do that. And we just want to also show other companies that it's possible. You can even during a global pandemic, you can still make an income. You can still thrive within the uncertain times, as long as you are better connected and you think ahead and you think for the future.
That has been one of the positives during this, challenging period. And if it wasn't for, this thing, we wouldn't have connected. So that's something to take home as well. Thank you all for for everything that you've highlighted, and I'm sure it will add value to our lives and also the viewers out there. Unfortunately, our time is not on our side. So next time, I mean, because we're gonna do more of this, covering different topics, things that affect us, like on a day-to-day basis, and also these long-term things, and talk about economy, health, even education, or even our religion and stuff. So discuss different topics, do more of this, because we are stronger together. And also with regards to House of Africa, people can connect with us. We've got a website, www.houseofafrica.org, and also we've got on the website, we've got a tab which is called House of Africa lounge. It's a lounge, it's a forum, so you can also register yourself, create your own account, as like creating a Facebook account. So there you can post any topics that you want people to discuss about, because even the viewers, your House of Africa, we are all involved. So you can register yourself. We continue talking about anything that affects us, and then we'll bring it on the platform. We talk about everything, things that can add value into our lives, and also relax and talk about things that can make us laugh and be happy and stuff, entertainment. We mix the both. And also we've got a directory tab as well, where you can register or create a listing of your company on the House of Africa website. The idea is to support one another. As we're saying, we're stronger together. You can put a listing of your company, and then we'll be able to tell people that, okay, so and so is dealing with such things, and so you can connect with that person and get whatever you want. So that's another form of circulating or creating that generational wealth and supporting one another. The Jews have done it. Why not us? Why can't we support our businesses? So House of Africa is like a hub. It is your home. It is our home. Let's empower one another and change the world. And the world needs us. And we've seen, like in Africa, the communities, we've haven't been progressive that much. Not that we don't have resources, but it's because of the leadership. We look at powerful organizations like AU, SADC, you name them. They haven't done more. It's not, change is not about the buildings, it's about the people, So we are the change. We are, the next generation. So we need to do more. We shouldn't be sitting on the terraces and letting, these people, run away with it and stuff and all that. We have to be at the forefront and speak and give each other platforms, and like any other country, like UK, or they give their own people platforms to express themselves. So yes, so that's what we can say for now. So thank you, viewers. We'll expect more, and from these lovely people that have shared their knowledge. So it's good to learn from one another. Iron sharpens iron. Anyway, thank you, beautiful people, and thank you to Zimbo Live, Auntie Jenny, for cross streaming. You've done a good work. we will continue to work together as a people, like we are saying we're stronger together. So we have to be connected, as Black people. So thank you so much. Thanks a million, and thank you to everybody, and also the viewers. We want to hear from you. You've got more to offer, so don't be on the terraces. So next time we'll be also asking, or taking questions from you, so we can learn more. Thank you, people.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.